Hello everyone, welcome to another session on the classification of phylum Mollusca. Here we are going to continue with class Gastropoda. In this session, we'll be looking into the classification of class Gastropoda and one of the examples in detail. Okay, class Gastropoda, it is divided into three subclasses, namely the Prosobranchia or Prosobranchs, Opisthobranchia or Opisthobranchs, and Pulmonata or Pulmonates. Okay, the subclass Prosobranchs, they include marine, freshwater, and terrestrial mollusks. Here we can say that it is the largest group of gastropods and they are mostly marine in nature. They include most of the marine snails and abalone. Okay, abalone, it is, we can see in the figure coming. Okay. Here you can see that the members, they exhibit torsion, and the torsion has caused the visceral mass to twist in the shape of 8, even though it is not visible from outside, but it is a very conspicuous twisting in the case of the visceral mass. The mantle cavity and the organs located inside it is actually get positioned anteriorly. The shell, they are all shelled mollusks. The shell is conical, spirally coiled, and the opening of the shell do have an operculum. Okay, the outside. You can see here. This is one example of Prosobranchs, the patella. The patella, it is the true limbus. It includes the true limpets, and you can say they are gilled sea snails. Okay. The next one we have is the Cypria, which is otherwise known as cories or the sea snake. Again, the coming under the Prosobranchs, and you may be familiar with these, the Cypria. You may have seen these in the like tourism spots near the beaches and all, right? Then we have is the Turbinella. Okay, here you can see the opening, right? The opening, it is covered with operculum. Okay, that is it. Okay, you can see here that it is, the coiling is very conspicuous here. So the shell is coiled, it is conical, and it is having an apex, right? It is uh, because it is conical in nature. Here also you can see it is conical in nature, right? Then apart from this, we can see the murex. Turbinella, it is the common shankar. Okay, it is also known as sancus, right? Murex, it is a predatory tropical sea snail, which is commonly referred as rock snails. They are carnivorous in nature. The Turbinella pyrum is the one which is used as shankar in many of the temples and all. Okay, as a part of the religious. Now, the next subclass, it is Opisthobranchia or Opisthobranchs, and they are actually they include exclusively marine mollusks, and they include the sea hares, the sea slugs, etc. Here you can see that the shell, the mantle cavity, and the gills in the case of the Opisthobranchs, they are highly reduced or they are even lost in some cases. But instead, protective covering, if it is absent, it has to be replaced by something, isn't it? So in the case of Opisthobranchs, they feed upon cnidarians. They prey upon cnidarians. And when they prey upon cnidarians, the nematocyst in the tentacles of the cnidarians, it is being stored as such. And it is these nematocysts that provide what you call defense, help in protecting the Opisthobranchs. Okay. So that is with respect to the Opisthobranchs. You can see over here, Aplysia, they don't have any shell, isn't it? Opisthobranchs, they have only one gill, one auricle, one nephridium, and as already mentioned, the shell is reduced. You can't see a shell over here. It is either internal or it is completely absent. And members are hermaphrodites in nature. The both reproductive organs, the male and female, are present in the same individual. Okay, yeah. Pila, you can see here which one it could belong to. It could belong to the Prosobranchus, very typical spirally coiled shell. Then the what you call operculum covering the opening of the shell. So it is actually a Prosobranchs. Okay, the one coming along with the Patella, Cypria, Turbinella, and the Murex. Okay, right. Now the next one we have is the Pulmonates. Right, the Pulmonates, as the name suggests, they are lung breathing. Right, they contain they include predominantly freshwater or terrestrial species, and they are mostly herbivorous in nature. They have a very long radula, and their mantle cavity, it is highly vascular. Mantle cavity is highly vascular, and they that function as the lung, and that is how the name has come, pulmonate. Okay, they are gillless mollusks, and the as already mentioned, the mantle cavity, it is modified into a vascularized chamber which is referred as a pulmonary sac, and it is this pulmonary sac which acts like a lung. Okay, and here you can see pulmonate. Another example we have is the oncidium is an example here. We have a typical example of the pulmonate group. Okay, so this is about the different what you call sorry mollusks, the classification. One more which has not been mentioned is the conus. Okay, conus, it is a predatory sea snail. It is actually poisonous. Okay, it is not poisonous, but it secretes the radula. It is somewhat like an arrow with an arrowhead, and the tip is somewhat like an arrowhead, and it can actually inject certain chemicals that act as a poison. Okay, so that is about the conus. It is commonly referred as a poisonous snail. Okay, now we can see the example Turbinella. As already mentioned, Turbinella is otherwise referred as Sancus because it is the shell. It is used as shankar in India. It is Sancus or the Turbinella. It is the Indian shank shell, and it is a gregarious marine mollusk in the sense it is usually found in large groups in the sandy or muddy seabeds of the tidal zone, mainly found in Indian Ocean and the Caribbean seas. And in the Indian Ocean, they are found along the Gulf of Mannar and the coastal waters of Tirunelveli, Ramanathapuram, Tanjore, Chengalpet, Nellore along the east coast, and along the west coast we can see it near the South Kerala and South Kathiawar coastal areas. Okay, now the shell outermost, we can, if you see the shank shell, it is univalve, the just a single shell, and it is thick and it is massive and it is spirally coiled. You can see here the spiral coiling. Okay, and the toppermost, it is known as the apex, and this is the main body whorl where you can find the major part of the visceral mass. Okay, and each of the whorl, it is being separated by a suture. Okay, you can see here this is a suture. Okay, the apex whorl to the penultimate what you call whorl. This is the last one, or the ultimate whorl, or the body whorl. Okay, these whorls are here referred as spire. Okay, the whole whorl from apex to the penultimate whorl, it is known as a spire, right? This is the main body whorl, which is the largest one. Okay, this opens to outside and it is covered by the operculum. The aperture, it is covered by an operculum, right? Now, this is about the shell. When we speak about the shell, it is spirally coiled. It has a long siphonal canal, and it serves. It is provided with several folds on the inner margin, and the shell whorls are coiled around the central axis. If you make a section of it, you can see a central axis extending from the apex till here. Okay, and this apex, it is known as the columella, and the whole whorl, it is actually surrounding this apex. It is coiled around the central axis, which is known as the columella. This columella, it is a thick, solid and folded, and you can see there is a shell mouth, which is already mentioned, that is the aperture. It is covered by the operculum. Okay, now coming to the body inside, it is soft and unsegmented, and it is divisible into head, foot and the visceral mass. And the visceral mass, it is spirally coiled. Because it comes under Prosobranch, it shows a very distinct amount of torsion. As already mentioned, the Prosobranch, the visceral mass shows a distortion, sorry, what you call a torsion, where the alimentary canal almost assumes a shape of a digit 8, isn't it? So here you can see the visceral mass is spirally coiled. It is undergoes torsion, and it is enveloped by mantle. Foot is large, and it helps in feed as a feeding organ for preying on clams and worms. Okay, clams means bivalves, right? The sexes here, that is separate, that is male and female individuals are found, and the development, it is indirect with a very specific larval stages. In the case of Turbinella, we can see it is having a trochophore larva and veliger larva. Okay, the shank shell, that is these Turbinella shell, it is considered to be sacred, especially the sinistral ones.